we're going to start this off with the premise that you've already seen the initial video that Gamers Nexus put out discussing some of the inaccuracies in data reporting that Linus Tech Tips and LMG Group, ATM machine, have had occur in videos within the past year. Made a pretty good case showing that there's definitely something wrong with their workflow. Somewhere between when the video is conceptualized and the video is released, something gets lost, data gets mishandled, and there's just something going on. Now, the assumption is that based off of the testimony, interviews with actual employees, I guess a video they put out in the past where they were honest and transparent with everybody, where they discussed that it would be nicer if they didn't have to rush to put out so much content at such a rapid pace. They have the means to be able to make and produce corrections, and they just don't because it's too late or it doesn't have any impact on the final result, which is something we've heard Linus say. Now, the major components of this, kind of the center of this controversy, besides this one piece I'm going to describe, everything else could have just been like, oh, okay, so he made some mistakes in videos. Maybe we should kind of tighten it up a little bit, right? But the core piece is a company called Billet Labs. They basically had developed a prototype for a new cooling system that they're planning on, selling or releasing or whatever. And they sent a test prototype to Linus and team to evaluate and test against, their cards. They were asked if it will support a 4090, and they said that I believe they said no, but it might, kind of thing. It's like, no, probably not, but it's probably specifically you should use the 3090 Ti or 3060 Ti that we sent to you in your testing because we know that it works with that. And when they got it, I guess they lost it somehow. They lost the 3060 Ti, or the card they were provided. Was it 3090? Yeah, they lost the card they were provided, and then they decided, well, we're going to go ahead and use the 4090. Well, that resulted in the product not performing up to spec, and Linus trashed it. Like really bad, like trashed it in a way that I would have in like 2016 or something, but not today because there's like people's lives on the line here. And like, maybe there's a better way to word things, and saying that this product's not ready for release instead of saying it's trash, instead of saying that nobody should buy it. I don't know why it's being built. Blah, 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 blah. And all of this is based on data that was erroneous from the start. Okay? So that was the core. That's the core part of Steve's, from Gamers Nexus, Steve Burke's video, is that they basically fucked this startup company, and it was all because of their inaccuracy in testing. So that's where the controversy started. All right. So first I want to say thank you to Eera put together. I had like a ton of links open and I was like, we're just kind of casually go through it. Eera was like, fuck it. I put together some show notes. He's like, there's no excuse not to do some news on this. So thank you so much for putting this together. Did I lose it? Where's it at? There it is. Here it is. The dossier. What if he tried to charge his EV by fueling it with diesel? Oh my God, this car sucks. Eera, yeah, seriously. All right, so this is the problem that Steve put out. This is the problem video that Steve of Gamers Nexus put out, and this goes in depth, 45 minutes, in depth, lots of data. It wasn't just, yeah, Linus sucks. Because keep in mind, these guys, like, they've had a relationship. Now, maybe they've, maybe whatever, some beef or something, I don't know. But there's videos of Linus saying, literally on the phone to Steve, there's nothing that you could say that would make me upset. All right. So obviously they had a pretty good relationship at some point in time. This was not necessarily a personal attack. It was Steve doing what he does. Okay. He does heavy investigative reporting on companies who are trying to defraud or trying to get over on tech consumers. Right. It's what this guy does. Right. And now if anytime he puts out a video and it's got some company name or whatever, the problem with whatever, it's like, oh shit. Like, I would not want this guy investigating anything that I've done. Jesus. Turned out it was a lie. Yeah. So we'll skip over watching that one, but we are going to watch some long form videos here, in order to get a good picture and also to get everybody caught up, because I know a lot of you guys are not caught up on what's going on here. So, woo, man turned up with facts and receipts. You call them being together in Shenzhen.
What's up, bro? Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, I was talking. Just kidding. Thank you, Inferno. I appreciate you. And thank you for the clutch horn recommendation. That's all. We're going to be together in Shenzhen, China, doing some build video at the crazy markets. Yeah. So this one I didn't know about. So this is part of this issue with the Billet Labs. What do they call it? Their cooler, right? Their prototype cooler was that they asked for it back. Okay, they were like, "Hey, I'm sorry it didn't work out for you, but it'd be nice if we got that back." And instead they were like, "Oh shoot, there was some paperwork mistake. We accidentally auctioned it at one of their auctions. It was a blind auction, so." Whatever that means, I guess they needed to go back and find the person who had it. I guess initially, according to this here, it says that they reached out individually to people and said, "Can you please let me know the item you won during the LTX auction? We've mistakenly lost that sheet and need it for our tax purposes." So there's on multiple facets here. There's lost paperwork. There's auction items that shouldn't have been auctioned. There's like there's a lot of problems here, right? Some of the jokes I saw on this thread was like, "Oh, did they auction the sheet too?" Yeah, probably. Lost, yeah. Kind of our prototype. We only have one. We need it back. The whole situation feels like everyone sucks. GN's video feels a bit cherry picked. Linus is a fucking idiot. Doesn't know how to let proper PR people handle shit. Billet seems like idiots for not considering how stupid it was to send a prototype to a YT company without crystal clear expectations of what is supported. I know, but but here's the thing though, Larens. I don't feel like it was cherry picked. The actual story was cherry picked because the core issue of the Billet Labs cooler being mishandled, like completely mishandled, really like kind of adds to the validity of all the other complaints. It's like there is a process issue at LMG, and that's just the biggest one, that and all these other issues are just kind of sprinkling some seasoning on it, right? Just like, yeah, look, it's just happening. Tastes delicious. That cooler had $1,000 just in copper and machining. Nice bookkeeping, yeah. Do they auction stuff off for some extra money on the site? No, it's supposed to be for charity, I believe. So, in fairness, sending Linus anything you need back in one piece is a gamble. So as we go through this, the response, fucking clown, the response from Linus on their forums, I'll try to like summarize as best I can, but it was definitely not handled well. I mean, I'm not even like an obsessive Linus video viewer, and I'm aware of past instances where he kind of flew off the handle a little bit, didn't necessarily handle issues as he should have, being the face of such a prestigious like company in the tech industry, right? Whether or not it's a YouTube company or not, you can't deny that this is a company that moves product for other companies. Extra Life Charity, but okay, cool. So he says, I expressed my disappointment that he didn't go through the proper journalistic practices in creating his piece. So he has issues with Steve even creating the video, which, Steve does not have to necessarily check in with everybody on every single video, although he does try. And he says, to my team, I stress the importance of diligence in our work because there are so many eyes on us. We're going through some growing pains. We've been very public about them and interested in transparency. And it's clear that we have some work to do on internal processes of communication. We've already been doing a lot of work internally to clean up our process, but these things take time. Rome wasn't built in a day, but it sure is falling fast. He says out here, all that being said, I still disagree that the Billet Labs video, not the situation with the return, which is I've already addressed above, is an accuracy issue. It's more like I read the room wrong. He said we could have retested it with perfect accuracy, but to do so properly, accounting for which cases it would be installed in, none, and which radiators it would be plumbed with, again, mystery, would have been impossible, and also didn't affect the conclusion of the video, or so I thought. Now, he is actually in the wrong here, right? But he is, for whatever reason, still standing or still tripling down on this, doubling down on this, saying that he didn't, or quadrupling down, he didn't do anything wrong. So he says, I wanted to evaluate as a product, and as a product, if I could manage to compete with the temperatures of the highest end blocks on the planet, it still wouldn't make sense to buy. So from my point of view, retesting it and finding out that, yes, it did in fact run cooler, it made no difference to the conclusion. So it didn't really make a difference. Ooh, man. So, what is this? Frost Shocker. Oh, thank you, Frost Shocker. We tested something and on something we knew it wouldn't work on. It wasn't designed for it, but I stand by our decision to shit on it. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, and that's something again that Steve points out in his videos where he has like classic YouTuber fashion, like really gone off the rails and just like rail on a company. And really like went in on a company for a product that they had that sucked when it was based off of their own mishandling of it. A recent example, I believe, is the mouse thing. A Teflon mouse, like a Teflon foot mouse or something. Those are supposed to be real smooth, right? Supposed to be really smooth. I guess they didn't remove the plastic covers that go over the feet. And they complained in the video about how it was bad and they should feel bad. And I guess they didn't take the video down even after the facts, and maybe they edited it. I don't know what they did, but it doesn't matter because that video made it live, and you could see in the actual video, in the B-roll, the plastic is on the mouse. So, like, I don't know. So those of you guys who have not been following along, do you see why this is such like a talking point? And we're not even through. We still have a lot more to go. Oh my God. The fucking mouse. Yeah. Let's see. With all this in mind, it saddens me how quickly the pitchforks were raised over this. It also comes across a touch hypocritical when some basic due diligence could have helped clarify much of it. I have a long history of meeting issues head on, and I've never been afraid to answer questions, which lands me in hot water regularly. But it helps keep me in tune with my peers and my community. The only reason I can think of to not ask me is because my honest response might be inconvenient. Whew. He monetized the apology video. We're getting there. So here's the video follow-up. We are going to watch this because you need to know. Oh my God, it's 20 minutes. We'll watch some of it because you need to experience this. First of all, yes, it is monetized. Okay, this is their response to Steve's video showing the inaccuracies in reporting, showing the mishandling of product, and showing just general workflow issues within the LMG company. I was gonna say group again. Check pin comments. Hold on.
Best at the roast a few years ago when he said,
"Why the f*** are you here?"
That's a two-part answer. I'm speaking today because of the recent community outcry demanding change. I'm here because I agree with the community. We do have a lot of work to do. In any case, it feels
so
really
remember,
good
this is the new CEO. Started like
only 6 weeks into the job.
6 weeks ago. 6 weeks ago.
I looked at some budgeting, some team building, and operations.
Darnell, go away, please.
Damn, a Cammy shut down right from the get-go.
There we go.
No worries, though. Your boy Darnell's got places to be and people to tease. I'm out of here with my attitude intact. Catch you on the flip side, partner.
All right. CEO introduces himself, and then we transition to not Linus. Okay, I watched this whole thing waiting for Linus to come on. Not yet.
Concerns that have been raised and how we intend to fix them with the money we'll make from our sponsor.
Just kidding.
Ha!
I was asked for unflinching, and here it is.
I'll summarize his. This guy was the most normal take on the whole thing. He's like, I'm the head of labs. I don't really agree with all the points brought up in the video, but we're gonna do stuff to make it better. Blah 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 blah. Okay.
There have been times when an internal video review caught an incorrect graph, resulting in new versions of the graph being created, only for those new graphs to not be put in the video. Ah!
Oh man, it's a serious video.
That's not my department, so I'm throwing it over to Nick.
Hold on. I'm mostly on the product side. LTTstore.com. What? Somebody had to say it.
Why would you do this, man? Why would you do this? Why would you do this? Like, This guy is, I don't know, is this guy in videos normally? Is he normally in videos, or is he like a behind the scenes guy? He's a CFO, right? So he's the one that's got it, that's trying to like get money moving, right? He's a CFO. I forget, there's a COO, to CCO, to CTO. We're getting everybody out here. Let me see, what is this? Yeah, COO, my bad, COO. We already talked to CFO, fucking hell. He's on videos. Oh, so this was his moment. He was like, oh, I gotta say something funny.
And I can focus my full attention on making little widgets that you don't need, but definitely want. Like this retro-themed screwdriver.
Arizona support.
Oh man, they can't help it. They can't help it. Why? They're talking about their company. Literally, the next section is Taryn lays out plans to improve credibility. Right after dude gets up there and does an LTT store plug and jokingly talks about, jokingly about both of them, sure. And maybe my panties are in a bunch or whatever the fuck, right? But the next section is on credibility, and they just got done fucking destroying it right up to this point. Like, up to the wire. It gets worse. We're getting there.
Assets like tables and graphs chip away our credibility. So continue to improve our process issues to minimize errors will remain a top priority under my leadership. I guarantee there will be future mistakes. We are human.
Sorry. He meant in the video. This guy says something that I need to watch, right? But I want to watch his whole thing. So over their bullshit. It's cringe the first time. Oh, that's right. So in this, yeah, the editor messed up ways that you should. Yeah, editor definitely done mess up, but imagine how much worse it probably did. Yeah, how about fucking check for fuck ups? Yeah, so again, this portion here, let me see, that was a blank prototype. So they already edited it, but they initially left the price of the prototype in this video. They left the prototype price in after it was requested. They don't release it. So it's like seconds after. It's like, okay, maybe not seconds, maybe like a minute and a half after the credibility and talking about, yeah, we're going to make mistakes. They make a fucking mistake.
Hey, it's me. I'm Chief Vision Officer now, but realistically, I'm not going to be able to hide behind my recent demotion here. I was the one at the head of the company for each and every mistake that our community has rightly brought to our attention. And once again, I made things worse by allowing myself to respond emotionally, have allowed my feelings to distract from any valid criticism of our work. My decision, for example, to not bother retesting the monoblock, that was obviously wrong, and my lame response on the forum was a huge and unnecessary blunder.
So one part that I believe is omitted from this, that of the things that we're talking about, is that he made a comment about how he doesn't want to retest something because it could cost him anywhere between $100, $200, $300, $500 to retest something. And the results of not retesting something correctly is what led to some serious issues for the company that owned the product.
I love this community and everything that it stands for. None of that has changed, and none of it is going to.
During my interview, one line from Linus that stood out to me was, I need somebody to come in who I know will be respectful of my life's work. That's when the gravity of what he was asking for dawned on me for the first time.
I just want to say, like, I've never felt bad for a CEO until today.
And I welcome continued constructive feedback and ready for this message from our sponsor.
Just kidding. Again. But
oh, man.
Brand did offer.
Wait, who offered? I missed what she said at the end. I was cringing so hard. So, D-Brand. Oh, God. All right. Cringe levels are critical. Oh, man. Okay, it was tough. It was tough. So they put it out, and let me go back here. This is the uncensored prototype that that's the proof where they show the price. It was expensive. Okay. I don't know how much that kind of money is worth in school buses, but I know it's a lot. All right. We're not going to watch this whole thing, but this is where he goes and he discusses, as always, about 14 old school buses, or 1/3 football fields. Okay, good. So this is where Steve goes in and he, you know, as part of his news segment that he does, he basically breaks down that it was a terrible response. It was unhinged, blah, blah, blah. And then we saw in the apology video, which was recorded after the fact, he basically admitted that he did go off the rails a little bit in his forum post. So I think the GM video went up after this video. Could be wrong. Yeah, this video went up last night, 1 day ago. Yeah, it went up last night, and the other one went up this morning. They're only probably like maybe 10 hours apart or something. Video went up after the forum post. Yeah. This one went up after the forum post because it related to the forum post, and he talks about it, and he goes into detail about stuff, and he also brings up some other points as well. Considering GN is getting like 25 times the views for these videos, you can never really be too sure on their motives either. Well, their first video they put out on this situation got them 3.4 million views, and you know they didn't monetize it. They said the second one, this is part of their news, and they put it into their news where they do have a sponsor, they do have advertising, and then that's just, you know, that's what it is. Now, I wouldn't say this deviates from his normal content, because while he does have reviews and all that stuff, his most watched stuff is, I'm certain of it, things that relate to going after companies who are trying to screw, you know, the average tech consumer. We've seen his work on Acer. We've seen his work on, we talk about the collapse of artesian builds, right? So we've seen his work in other facets. We're basically doing the same thing that he is doing to, as a result of Linus's and his company's actions. But yeah, that he has his coverage of that. LTT all monetized, GN follow video only monetized. Yeah, exactly. So go back to this. Billet Labs update. So this is the owners of the prototype core. They said for full transparency, Linus contacted us this evening to say it's likely he can get the block back from the buyer. We have declined his offer and asked that with the previously agreed monetary value instead for the following reasons. We have already spent a significant percentage of the money for stuff. We do not know if the original block is in good condition. We don't know if any of the bespoke fittings are missing. And the LTT have had our 3090 Ti without using it for 9 weeks, so we have lost confidence that they will return items quickly. LTT is currently in possession of the block. They've only said that they can get it back. Isn't currently in possession of the block. They only say they get it back, and who knows what timeline that's going to be. And then it says it's with a private individual and not a rival company, so IP loss is not much of an issue. So that was a concern that people had initially in like the 2-hour window that we had a gap in this fiasco to actually like think and analyze things. But that was one of the things that people had issue with, was if you sold it in an auction and a competitor picked it up, you know, which is entirely possible, right? Then that could turn into, you know, IP loss issues. Somebody else could take it, you know, remanufacture, you know, engineer, and basically make the same thing. So we want to say this publicly in case anyone has any issue with the fact that the block has potentially been found. We chose to take the money instead. We hope you understand our reasoning here, etc. Now, the money they ask for, it's not like hundreds of thousands of dollars or anything. It's like it seems like it really is just like the price of the unit in terms of like to try to be able to fix it, replace it, or whatever, make another one. So it's not like some absurd amount, and I'm sure it's an amount, or I know that it's an amount that Linus would have been very happy to pay and avoid all of this, but it didn't work out that way. Now, so this next part, I got to read you guys trigger warnings here, okay? Belittling, gaslighting, inappropriate touching and comments, self-harm, and generally LMG management being a bunch of absolute cunts. Can I say that? I'm American. LTT should pay the money and get the block back to Billet. Yeah, they should just follow through with everything. Now, this is an ex-employee who, if you watch Linus videos, I give permission. Yeah, I got an English friend. He said I could say that word. Anyways, I'm sorry. Back to this. Fuck. So this Madison is an ex-employee of Linus, Linus Tech Tips, Linus LMG, fucking LMG, and she left, and it was kind of a quiet release, right? Like she kind of just left, separated from the company, and things just kind of went, all right, she's no longer there. Only permission for okay, got it. Now, I did not read through this whole thing, and I really wanted to. I do want to skim through some of this now with you guys because I need to understand the gravity of this as well. I've only seen a few things, but the things that I have seen every single piece that I've seen was worth bringing up. So I want to skim through this with you guys. So it gets wild and interesting. Yeah. So to start speculations, I chose to quit at LTT. The working environment sucked and it was ruining my mental health. And it said the number of daily items social media role at the time was expected to fill was incredibly high. It says I was expected to post 3 tweets, 2 Instagram posts, and 2 TikToks minimum per day. That means plan, film, edit, and post. Okay. And it says, it posts 2 float plane videos also on top of that, exclusives per week. It says they included wrangling people to get all this stuff done, and those people are also struggling to get the work done. So I was expected to manage, plan, come up with, execute, get approval for, and schedule out all the sponsored content on socials, not including YouTube, all while being told the company not to complain because my job was the fun job. So I never publicly made any statements regarding my time there because I feared even more backlash from a community that was already attacking, defaming, and sending me death threats. I also feared for my future career, in this career, given that LTT is large and has industry connections. I was consistently belittled by certain members of upper management. My work was called dog shit. I was called incompetent. When I would reach out to my managers and try to get help with these situations, I would be told to put on my big girl pants and be more assertive. After enough complaints from me, I was pulled into a meeting. In that meeting, the writer's room was pointed to, and I was asked, do you think any of these people would have a hard time getting a job? I said no. Keep in mind, this was about a month into working there. And then I was pointed to and asked, what about you? I was scared. I remember asking, are you going to fire me? I was laughed at and told to stop being so pessimistic, as if my job and ability hadn't just been vaguely threatened. I was then asked to agree to a verbal no drama contract. The verbal part is important. In this moment, I realized I was no longer considered a part of the team. I was now a threat because I was putting up a fuss when I believed I was being treated unfairly and inappropriately. This verbal agreement wasn't right. It was behind the scenes warning with no record. A warning that came very shortly after I had come forward stating that I had been inappropriately grabbed multiple times in the office, amongst other issues. I was barred from being in videos, so when you ask what happened, why wasn't she in any more content, this is why. After it was publicly announced by Linus that he was hiring me without my knowledge or consent to the situation, and also before I was even offered the job or shown the salary, I agreed and signed the employment contract. I had asked and been told during interviews that I would be allowed to monetize my YouTube channel and allowed to join Flowplane in exchange for shutting down my Patreon. Once I moved, I was presented with an entirely new contract and handbook that I was not told existed. Woo! What the fuck is a verbal no drama contract? It's a way for them to tell you to not talk shit about the company or else. But they don't have it in writing. That's all. Some corrections were made as apologies for the miscommunication, but I was still upset. I later went to Linus about this and stated that the effort to remediate the situation wasn't sitting right with me. He told me perhaps I should change my priorities. He was, in this instance, referring to the fact that my brother had suddenly passed away, not even a week before I moved for his job, and that perhaps I should just ignore that I had been misled because that was more important. I cannot tell you how upset I felt in this moment. I'm reading this for the first time, by the way. That part I didn't know. I was told I was bossy when I was trying to be assertive, like I was asked to do. I was told I was arguing when I was trying to discuss my point of view. I was told to calm my tits and stop being such a bitch, and other comments to similar effects. I remember getting told off for taking my sick days, as in days you're entitled to. This no days off grind set culminated in the real moments I realized I had to leave. I purposely cut my leg open so badly I would have to go to the ER to get stapled back together. It was genuinely the only way in my mind to take a day off without being harassed for the reason why. I had spoken to managers about how I was struggling and how the workload was too much for one person, but I was belittled and told, you just have bad time management skills. Jesus. I am still scared shitless of what the response will be, since I am a woman and have already been called dramatic. I am not stating what happened to me because I'm seeking clout. I'm stating it because it has been eating away at me for 2 years. There are genuinely amazing, compassionate, incredibly intelligent people who work at this company and are driven to just share the cool tech they love. It sucks that ego and bottom line are slowly destroying some of them and hurting the entire reputation of the company. I remember he posted this response in response to people speculating something had happened to me. And if you read it, it pretty much says, hey, No one has come out against us, therefore we have done nothing wrong. And I'll read this part because it does read like that. For obvious reasons, there won't be an official statement disclosing private details about my dealings with any of the current or former staff. You and Reddit can stop asking. On a separate note, no NDA or other agreement can prevent a Canadian from reporting workplace mistreatment, including but not limited to harassment, discrimination, or unlawful termination. They can post it publicly, submit a statement to the authorities, or do both for good measure. As long as it was true, it won't be defamatory. If I'm ever actually accused of a crime or other misdemeanor, including any violation of employment law, I'm sure you'll be able to read all about it on Dexerto. Which, by the way, this is all over Dexerto. For now, it appears that we are in the clear. Woo! Oh, wait, here also. I haven't read this. I was also the one tasked with managing the OnlyFans account, something I said I didn't want to do. I had read comments from people talking about how they wanted to fuck me and my coworkers. I saw people's dicks and vaginas. I said no and was told only a little longer. I think we all understand what she's saying. I think we all understand, like, how unreasonable fans can be, right? If she came out, if none of this fiasco happened this week and she came out and posted this, it would probably get some traction, but it would not get the amount of positive traction that would be necessary to probably make good, reasonable changes, like meaningful changes at the company. And instead, she would probably be bombarded with people making death threats and all that other shit because, you know, they feel the need to defend Linus for some reason. I know that on the subreddit, on the Linus Tech Tips subreddit, they're sharing employees who have liked her account of what had happened. So, and this is one of them, right? There's a couple others as well. You know, if we read this and then we turn around and watch the apology video after, come on. The last post is important. Oh, thank you, Blem. Thank you. Says, when I left, I was told they would announce I parted ways from the company on the WAN show. I said no, unless you make sure you clearly state that I quit. They then never mentioned it on the WAN show. GM, yeah, Gamers X was just pissed about review quality. Yeah. They're not going to come back and say anything else. If Gamers Nexus is smart, which I'm certain that Steve is, they're not going to come anywhere near any of this. This is not their bag. This drama shit, this is for us. This is for people like us to cover, right? Not for him. Tech Jesus is smart. Yeah, he should know better. He knows better, I should say. Woo! Shit! So, the actual, thank you so much for grabbing this too. This is the actual post that she posted, said on Glassdoor, where she says she does not recommend it. And it says no CEO approval. It says pros, a lot of talented people. And then cons, no proper or explained HR system, sexist remark, coded language, harassment or commonplace, inappropriate actions, comments, and discussions frequently occurred, including discussion about employees' bodies, appearance, clothes, and wealth. Upper middle management frequently misused power. No way to report most incidents without issues. This HR team was also upper management. Feedback was consistently harsh and not constructive. Inappropriate language was commonly used while giving feedback. Meetings with unbalanced power dynamics were commonplace. Gaslighting situations frequently occurred. Unbiased third parties were never present or easily able to be requested in these meetings. Lack of proper communication between management and employees. Outside ventures frequently frowned upon or limited by the company. HR protects the company. That's right. They don't care about you. And that's what she's saying. She's saying there's no third parties present in like some of these things. And HR was part of the system, you know? So this next part, thank you so much for the content warning. This one involves suicide. This one's a tough read. This was a tough read, okay? But I'm going to read it anyways. Yeah, speaking of trigger warnings, this is like top tier right here. So it says, this is a deleted post. This is a year ago. It says, my son built a tiny YouTube channel named MindChop years ago. Due to legal issues with the MCN, he was not able to get a silver play button. I brought him to the NCIX bankruptcy auction to buy one with the hopes of engraving it with his channel's name. We bought it from the auction fair and square, yet you demanded we hand it over to you. We said no, and you got your fans to harass my son and flooded his channel with dislikes and hateful comments. We hoped your toxic fans would finally leave us alone. I created this Reddit account for him to use in the future. He posted another video last year after a long hiatus, but your fans still continued to harass him. He ended his life in August. My wife couldn't bear to have any more Christmases without her son, and she ended her life just before Christmas. I'm alone now, and I have nothing left. I hate you, Linus Sebastian. You built your entire empire, destroying the lives of others. I do not know why people idolize you. You are a monster. So this is a post by Linus, and he goes into detail, and he says he basically apologizes for what happened, and it's a fairly good post. So your son seemed like a really kind person, even though he won the auction fair square. He offered to sell the play button for what he paid. I was so moved by his generosity that I called off the deal because I felt he should have it due to the unfair situation for his former MCN. He said this behavior from some viewers was brought to my attention in the hours after our video went public, and I made a statement specifically condemning the behavior and calling out what a great guy your son was. Here's a link if you want to see it. It's from a few days after the auction. Yeah, he said, I would hate for you to think I have anything but respect for your son, everything he accomplished. I feel like it would be best to lock this thread since there are already some comments that I don't feel being respectful to you and your situation. Yeah, fans. This is like when we talk about Madison's notes talking about how she's harassed by fans, that she's afraid that she's going to get harassed by fans even more so. This is what she's talking about. Oh, so here's the actual conversation with the kid.
It's
right?
actually after in there. Sorry, which one?
The YouTube plaque.
The YouTube plaque. Okay. Yeah. I'll buy it.
Just remember, the fans saw this and they decided to harass this kid. Okay? So this conversation that's happening triggered an event that changed all of their lives for the absolute worst, obviously.
No, he's got a channel. Yeah. I'm on. He's got over 1 million subscribers. So.
Sorry?
And I didn't get that many.
Okay, I gotta level with you guys here. That's the channel I built. That's why I'm here.
Okay.
That's my plaque. Like, I'll pay you for it, but that's my plaque, guys. I didn't realize that this was like a choice auction here. The NCIX Tech Tips channel. Like, do you know who I am?
I probably watch your videos.
Okay. Here, can I see it?
Yeah. Just type in the MindChop.
So this is your channel? You're running this?
Yeah.
Damn, man. Yeah. Well, you know what? Actually, if you don't have one, I have two.
Okay.
I have one for Linus Tech Tips. I've got one for Tech Quickie. I was here to buy this out of sentimental value, but you know what? Honestly, you could rebadge this really easily. You know what, dude? Massive shout out. He was gonna do it, but tell you what, take it, enjoy it. It's the OG plaque, which is the one you should have.
Exactly.
And it's a lot nicer than the newer one,
the new one's
which you probably know.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Awesome.
I'm defeated on the play button.
Okay. So that was the situation. And then look at what happened. Okay. So I won't put this. I don't know what are in the edits, right? I will agree that Linus does have an aggro aura about him. I've always thought he kind of does, right? But never thought it was malicious or anything, just kind of like his personality. But the fans read this as, we need to go after this kid. I actually went to the channel to go and see like what this kid did. This is 5 years ago now, right? And he has an explanation here where he talks about this situation, because obviously he needs to bring it up. He probably posted this on every on every fucking video. I didn't look. But yeah, he posts saying this is what happened, whatever. Looking at the comments, I mean, the comments are here to support this young man, you know. Now, obviously, because because the right people are getting involved now, the ones who like can appreciate somebody who who didn't deserve this kind of treatment. This one is entirely on the fans. Yes, I'm not saying this is Linus's fault. I'm not saying this is Linus's fault. And the father, yes, he's saying, I hate you, Linus. I totally side with the father. I understand that mental anguish where like he went to him, and then this situation happened, and then because of this person's publicity, it led to his son taking his own life. Now, obviously, the son made the decision to do this, but as a father, like, I totally understand why you would say, what happened? Where did it go wrong? What was the pivot point? What was the pushover point, the last straw, the final nail, whatever. I mean, this is a huge pivot point right now for LMG and for Linus and for that entire group, where they need to make some serious decisions. They need to make some serious changes, obviously. They do a pretty good job of being transparent, right? If you watch this video with Steve, you could see there's tons of clips taken from all over the place where they speak very candidly about things in the company. Obviously, they don't discuss how they sexually harass people. That's something that's going to be handled separately, which I believe there's a link here. Yes. But in terms of workflow, in terms of controlling their fans, you know, like stuff like that. With the less than 6 month CEO has a lot of work ahead of him. Yes. And so thank you for this link, Woovie. It says Linus Tech Tips positive production as controversy swirls. So what started as criticism over errors in recent videos is escalating into allegations of sexual harassment, prompting the company to hire an outside investigator. So I hadn't read this yet, but I knew this was coming. Linus Media Group Tech CEO Taryn Tong also responded via email saying he was shocked at the allegations the company described in Reeves' posts. He went to note that as part of the process, beyond an internal review, we will also be hiring an outside investigator to look into the allegations and will commit to publish the findings and implementing any corrective actions that may arise because of this. So yeah, this is, like I said, this is a major turning point in Linus Tech Tips' entire empire, right? You know, there's fucking hell. Like, we've seen this kind of behavior, you know, from us gamers and shit, right? We've seen it at Riot. Okay, we've seen it at Blizzard. We've seen it at all these companies that we view as faceless, emotionless, and just fucking dicks, right? And we don't expect that from people who started at the ground up with us, YouTubers, you know, just fucking working your ass off. And now you've built this company and now you're doing the same thing that these other companies are doing. I don't know what's going to happen with, I know that for sure, Linus is probably not going to say shit on the situation for a good long while. I don't know if you're going to see a WAN show or anything anytime soon. It would be smarter of them to not do it. I mean, they talk about taking a week off. I feel like they probably need to take a month off. I mean, there's a lot to do here. They probably need to lawyer up and get things done. Yeah, there's definitely going to be, you know, they surely have lawyers on hand, right? They definitely have lawyers on hand, but they may need to seek counsel from people who are specialized in other areas, because while they may have a lot of business lawyers on hand, they may not have a lot of lawyers on hand that can handle allegations that have been presented here. The new CEO, you know, like I said, I feel bad for him. It's weird saying that still, but he is the person who could take this and turn it around and make it, you know, I guess, the company that it should be, that we all thought it was, right? He has a lot to do. So, palate cleanser time. Hey, yeah, how about some memes related to this, huh?